Hello, hello. Good evening, Chuempala. Good evening, Mansa. Good evening, Nakonde. Good evening, Liua. Good evening, Sioma. And good evening, Livingston and Chipata and Katete and Chediza and Lundazi. Good evening, world, Southern Africa, North Africa, West Africa. Good, is it evening, Australia? Whatever time you are on, Australia, Oceania. I think there is an area known as Oceania. So that's an area of island somewhere at Wishishibe. And so welcome to TVBAKWETU, Elias Monsha here, and I am coming to you live from Calgary, Alberta. But I am not alone here. I am with our resident pharmacist and famous co-host, Jerome Kanika, who is extremely happy today. I don't know why, but he's happy. Please share this link with as many people as possible. Let everybody know that TVBAKWETU is on this Friday, the 19th of November, and we have insider topics. These are like topics that you are going to be very happy we discussed. As usual, we are leaving, we are not taking off our gloves today. It is very serious. And Mr. Patrick Chilufya is also with us here today. And so, Jerome, could you kindly say hello to everybody?
Well, good evening, everybody. And Vamusha, before she left, I was just thinking to myself, Vamusha, to say, Vamusha, Maltamon kuipa t-shirt ni wako mirenge. Awe Vamusha, when I need to wako chingola.
Of course, that's why.
Not if I'm putting awe kumirenge kubawish, awe Vamusha, everything wako chingola, no mutundu kaupangiro wespe na chingola.
Yeah, I think twalipanga kare Chuempala motundu, I think. So in another Jerome Kanika Grivena Chuempala.
Good evening, the people. Yeah, today is a nice day. Just like Council Moshe has mentioned, to say that today's a happy day, especially to a person like me who's very, very much happy, and I can't hide my joy that finally Jericho has fallen. Oh yeah, sorry, Babu, shall not mention. So today there are 3 Jerichos that have fallen: MOH, Kabushi, and Kwacha in Kitwe. They have fallen, Bamush, and we just need to talk about that. And just like I've said, just like I've heard, Mr. Patrick, yeah, it's good you are there. Today, as you know very well, there is a good news that the president has made and also the courts have made. So there's free service this day. NDA.
Those that have followed Jerome Kanika, you know exactly what he's referring to by free service. But we can't take him too seriously because he's not a consumer of any of these services. Mr. Patrick Chilufya, please welcome everybody.
Welcome, TVBAKWETU. Thank you, Musha. Thank you, Jerome. Welcome, our leaders. And don't forget the stars. Today is going to be a very good day, joyous day. As Bakanika said it, I think today we've got 3 miracles, and we need to talk about them. And share all the pages, Facebook pages, share them, so that thank you so much.
All right. Now, we've got to begin by mourning the passing of Honourable Levy Mkandawire. Honourable Levy Mkandawire is a very distinguished public servant. He worked in the civil service. He worked as Lusaka mayor, and then most recently as member of parliament for Kabwata. What we understand from the police is that he had driven into his home very close. He got out of his car, a smaller Toyota ITL. I'm not very particular about the model. And he was as if he was opening the gate so that he can drive into his house when a vehicle that was being driven, a BMW vehicle that was being driven along the street, bashed the smoker, and that smoker moved and pinned Honourable Levy Mkandawire to the wall, to a pillar in the wall fence. He sustained injuries and he passed away on his way to the hospital yesterday. And so we continue to mourn and to mourn with the family, with the UPND, with members of parliament, with the nation at large. Extremely sad. There are a lot of speculations, but we are not going to speculate. There are several things that are very difficult to understand, like Chilufya, for a vehicle to hit a stationary vehicle and then push it with force that actually hits a person. That is very high speed. Right, Bachilufya?
It's like a movie, and it's a puzzle that the police needs to solve. To start with, where is that vehicle? Because the starting point is wakapokola wafide wasanga ila motoka. Nina nyumwine wa motoka ila. But the way this happened, Musha, it's very suspicious, but there's nothing we can do. We don't know. But it must have been at a very, very high speed with a lot of force to move a stationary vehicle. It's a mystery. And we pray that the police service, which we think is professional, is well trained, is good, they should investigate this matter too and find out the culprit.
What is being said is that the driver of the vehicle are actually neighbors. Honourable Mkandawire, the late Honourable Mkandawire, was at house number 34. And I think this neighbor is at house number 32. So they are very close. And my only concern is the speed. This is not at night. This is in broad daylight. The speed that is required to push a stationary vehicle to where it actually pushes and pins a person. That's a lot of speed. We understand that the driver of this vehicle has reported herself to the police, and there is nothing much we can say at the moment, really. We are not going to open ourselves to speculations. Yeah.
But Bamusha, the question is, if he was a neighbor, where was he going driving at that speed? Because obviously he was approaching his house, so he was going to slow down.
So the reports are that it's a woman who is driving, and in that vehicle is a child as well as her husband. So the woman is about 32, the partner is about 57-year-old, and there is a child in the vehicle. All the same, the speed does not sound, the speed you must be driving an extremely high speed to hit a stationary vehicle, and then that vehicle in turn moves to knock down somebody and pin them against a wall. It doesn't matter what distances, but it just requires too much speed.
I think Bamusha to forensic experts, they should be able to calculate the speed at which this person was driving. Just to look at stop. We've got experts there. They should be able to tell us at what speed that person. And then the other thing about Musha is, do we have speed limits in my compound? Yes.
Yes.
Because that's another thing for the police.
Yeah. Yeah. There are definitely limits there, and this is too bad. Any other information Jerome, about Honourable?
You see, Bamusha, the one thing that you get surprised is Honourable Levy Mkandawire was very close to my family actually, and they encourage a lot of my family members to go vote. Actually, the time of voting, make sure that go vote and vote for UPND. And even this time was even telling my family members to say, okay, once we settle down, you can come visit me by my office and all that, and we are just that we have not settled down. When the first death came in, we got consent. We called, said, no, I'm very much okay, people are lying. But this second death, it's shocking because the neighbor stays on house number 32. Then him stays on house number 34. If you see, if it's those roads where there is odd numbers are on and even numbers are on, you discover that they are just next door to each other.
Yeah.
So now you wonder at what speed was someone trying to move to hit that the vehicle, which you can say, oh, you are just coming out from your own gate. So I think, you see, I don't want to speculate. Actually, I'm just even up to today very much shocked.
Right. Dr. Bab, is it tufiro kupuishaina not Dr. Bab, and tufiro tuapuilisha Dr. Barbara Chanda? Mretumva. I think Dr. Barbara can't get us. Yeah. That's pretty sad. So may the soul of Honourable Mkandawire rest in peace, and we pray for God's strength and God's encouragement for the family. Particularly that just a few weeks ago, a rumor went around that he has passed on. Death is a mystery, and we pray that God gives them the grace and the strength. Our Chavip. Nomba, so nomba kanshuku tonton kanyapo, bachilufia, na imwe wakanika, tufiro kutonton kanyapo, pantu na ifwebene, You are never ready. kumfwa fiat wafwa. Terrible. But it's all in God's hands.
I don't think Wamusha anybody is ready for death.
Yeah.
It can happen anytime.
Yeah.
So yeah, myself, I've stopped worrying about things I can't control, and death is one of them.
Right.
So I only worry about things I can control. So that means I don't have to worry because I can control them.
Yeah. Okay. That's understandable. Zambia, sometimes we surrender to this fatalism where we say, because it can happen anytime, therefore we don't need to take care of our own safety. But
No.
accidents are actually caused. You can't drive above 50 kilometers per hour in a residential area. It's inevitable. No. You know, you can't do that. If they are tools, but they are also very dangerous things. You know, motor. And so we need to control the speed. But there is also another issue of the rising crime in Lusaka. At crime na ichilamo sana. And so with overspeeding, people using vehicles for crimes and everything, it's pretty tough in Lusaka right now. Jerome, what are you hearing about that?
Vamusha, you see, sometimes we need to understand what has caused the rise in crime in Lusaka. One thing that you need to know is there is a serious abuse of drugs by young people in Lusaka. And not only in Lusaka, even in Copperbelt. And when I was raising some of these concerns, at the time I was a pharmaceutical society president, to say, can we see how these drugs are sold to the young people? People are thinking like, I'm just trying to block other people from making money and business or that. No, there's no professionalism in the way drugs are sold in Zambia, especially to the profession themselves that's supposed to handle the matter in terms of selling the drugs. Most
Right.
young people are using these drugs and they're finding themselves in doing activities that they are not supposed to do because they are intoxicated with these drugs. It's very sad if you find how people uses the issues of burning with codeine, Aten, diazepam. You get shocked where they get these drugs, and once they use these drugs, how they become junkie and ready to do anything. So some are doing this because of this such kind of behavior. And you discover that some people who are happening these crimes, they are coming from well-to-do families. So that's the challenge which is there. And the only connection you can put is only abuse of drugs. And the first thing we need to do, let's curtail the abuse of drugs. Then we can see if genuinely that the crime rate is a genuine crime rate or if it will come down. But I can assure you, we are going to reduce the crime rate by more than 70% if we just curtail the abuse of drugs.
Okay.
This has also seen an increase in prostitution among the young people. You know the reason? Because of the same abuse of drugs and the peer pressure.
Okay. Now, by prostitution, what you are actually meaning is actually prostitution. Because sometimes to a mistake of thinking, which in Domfana prostitution, by prostitution, you mean actually prostitution as in people lining up the streets and everything. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you see, katisho fo nindafiranda na bwino shani kaili fe trevo mchakole mani problem nefa mtu twale kwa tiri mchemba vakanso awe apatiranda de mani ofo prostitution ichilale abaiche ichilale no kwangala fe kulya bakanya.
Okay, Emomulelo, when you say prostitution.
Emondero sharp. Please,
Okay.
muche control tatu mchemba mtwelele kondele mandi ndebo.
Now, London, we won't fear the word prostitution. If it's prostitution, if you have a street more Which streets are those? Addis Ababa, Omelomumba, Nayambi. You know, that's prostitution.
Vamusha mwayeshiva
pano mperere kuti nakano kuishiva.
Vamusha lekeni saving echo. I am a red light districts. Wonse kula woku yeshiva na ifeto walishiva eko tuikala kuno ku UK. Na ku London walishiva kwa ama streets ama red light districts. So it doesn't mean ulayako, but yalishiva kwa.
In fact, Omelomumba is a very common street. Yakoba Tungole Pitako 18 hours or 19 hours. They are there. So Nombandanda Tinsha Monapo. I've never driven through Omelomumba. Ninshinti wabufi. Nechishinka Tachava Mudine. Na aliensha po motoka along Omelomumba Road. Na aliensha po motoka along Emesdale. Na aliensha po motoka along Addis Ababa.
Omelomumba emwali kalabasat before Tarawaba president.
Need in a street.
Yeah,
it's full of our prostitutes. Yeah. The street itself.
Yeah, so those are some of the challenges, but crime has purely gone up. I've heard people are trying to say no because then what
Okay, I think we are losing Jerome.
I think Vamusha, what Jerome was saying is that misuse Yama drugs. Yeah. Obviously, young people are misusing drugs. Obviously, well-to-do, they can afford. But not only that, when people are intoxicated, they can sleep with anybody without knowing.
Right.
And then also, drugs. Then what happens? Because drugs are expensive. Then they have to go and steal. That's what I was trying to get from Jerome.
Right.
Yeah, but then the question about Musha is, how do we control? Because these drugs, Jerome, they are controlled drugs. Somebody has to sign for them, a doctor or somebody, for them to be prescribed. How do they get out of the institutions into the public?
Right. Okay. But that is a wider issue of saying it's drugs, it's something. But what we have noticed is the spike, right? The spike is particularly after, towards the elections and after the elections. There is a definite spike in crimes. And so what is going on? Is it something to do with a lot of freedoms that we now are experiencing under the new dawn? Of course, that drugs could be an issue, but this sudden uptick, or maybe it's just a matter of perception, there isn't an increase in crime. Anyway, we are going to see how we address that issue. And now I think we need Jerome back because Jerome has a very interesting news that he needs to share. And I want him to be the one to break that news because he's been on this issue for a very, very long time. Dr. Bab, you can now hear us, right? Because
yes, I can hear you. I didn't realize that I'd muted myself because I normally use headsets, so I didn't, senior moments.
Dr. Bab, yesterday was quite interesting because we had Honourable Hamdudu, and I think it went very well. So have you recovered from that interview?
I've recovered. He's a very likable person, and he's got, he's a people person. So he's got that. He's got that appeal to say, yeah. Right. He's a lovely guy. Some people, as a UPND myself, some people may not be happy with, why are you speaking to this person? Then I'm thinking, you know what? I'm a Catholic who reads the Torah, who reads books for Muslims, what makes us fear other people is normally ignorance. You know, when you don't have enough information to counteract what somebody is saying,
Right.
then you just close the door. You know, like what fiat ba what town gabaisa pamunchi waisa punka fetchi bita le fokulanda na because ule mfomo wesa to balance and watch town. Umuntu teta kusandre watch town ngatawa kwata itsumi no chove. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Now,
Now I just wanted to we've lost Honourable Levy Mkandawire, and the manner that the police report is that he was actually pinned. And you are a medical doctor, and what we are saying is so here is a vehicle driving at a very high speed, pushes a stationary vehicle. That stationary vehicle in turn moves and then pins Honourable Mkandawire somewhere around the gate. And so head trauma is what leads to his passing.
nice.
Pretty sad.
I think may his soul rest in peace, and my condolences to his family and everybody, you know, even ourselves as a UPND party. It's really an unnecessary death. It's really shameful and it's really painful as well, because this is a man who's died outside his own home in a residential area at the gate of his own house. You don't expect anybody to be killed outside their own home, let alone by a fast car that hits them. You know, the way the houses are built in Zambia, you first go on the main road, then you turn your car into your, you know, your garage, or, you know, your gate area. So that means the person that hit him actually deviated from the main road, went all the way to where they were. That means they were really speeding. And then that creates so much speculations, which we can't go into, because this is a death of somebody and the family is still mourning.
Right.
We can also say that there's so much crime at the moment. My fear is that, you know, as we were leading to the elections, a lot of money was being thrown into the community to the young people who are unemployed, who don't have any activities. And some of them had access to guns, as we could see, even on social media, people were posing with guns. Maybe we need to have a tougher control with those people, because as we remove them from the markets where they were earning money, we may have more crime, because these are young people who were in the streets already. We want to assume that everybody was a normal person just doing business in the market. Some of them were actually criminals. So that's my worry, because it's not really a spike. I was seeing the video where there was shooting at a shop. That's something that is definitely spiked in the few weeks after the elections. There's more people trying to take the law in their hands. Maybe they've misunderstood the new dawn in saying that we are forgiving, and they're thinking they're forgiving everything under the sun, which is not the case. So I think something has to be done. Maybe the police has to take control, but it's a very sad death. It's really, really horrible for the family. My condolences to them.
All
It's
right.
really
Okay. So
go
I
ahead.
think we need now to pivot after having addressed those issues, and I hope Jerome is going to join us. If he doesn't, we are then going to break the news. Of course, this is very well known that there's been nullification of several seats. At least 2 seats have been nullified today. So the first seat that has been nullified is, for some reason, we need to avoid name calling, because twadileka. Ain bachelor of twadileka name calling. Ain things like no
Yes, Churchill.
Shimpundu helicopter, the gentleman who bought 2 helicopters.
Yeah, nangu bashimpundu noti twalireka firi awe.
Anyway, so the seat for Honourable Bowman Lusambo has been nullified by the Ndola High Court, and the seat for Honourable Joe Malanji has been nullified by the Lusaka High Court in Kwacha. The reason, now we've not yet read the decisions of why these seats were nullified. We are going to read the decisions. They are going to be released very soon. And once we read, we are going to come back with a much more informed perspective. But for now, we understand that Honourable Malanji's seat was nullified because he does not possess a grade 12 certificate or equivalent, something like that. Now, that could be the main reason, or that could just be one of the reasons. The issue we have with reporters in our country, and this is very serious, is that it appears like most of our reporters do not know how to report legal news. But it's not just legal news, because even medical news, Dr. Baba, I think you can say the same.
Yeah, that's why I've taken up a course on medical journalism, because I've realized that, you know what, just talking anyhow, you have to learn something, you know, equip yourself, even if nika small course ka 1 week, so you can catch up na bamusha pakulanda pamlavata. You know, we have to respond to what people are saying. You know, yesterday people were saying, be professional. I went that, they're right. We have to be professional. If you're going to speak to people, we need to be professional. So we all need to learn, take up short courses on how to report, how to say things, how to address what is affecting us as well.
Right. Okay. So that is one of the that is one of the things that are happening. So sometimes they listen to the judgments, but when they report, and sometimes it's also the market. Our market is not very patient to read a judgment. We like, much more sexy stories. And so unfortunately we miss the meat. So we could be saying that it is because of the GCE, and yet there could be more. So we are going to wait to read the actual decisions, and we'll come back and give you our analysis of the Kwacha seat. For Bowman Lusambo, also the same. We don't know exactly what is in the detail. Going by what was reported, people just reported. But for nullification, everybody go, because everyone is a journalist. I'm nullifying wafuma waya type no type. Bowman Lusambo seat nullified. No details, no reason, and everything else. And so the journalists are not good, because the last time I commented on journalists, I'm a journalist, they won't say you. Maybe to show Bashan. Ishire Mishoba, each on there and the Vechakova, I think I'm more pocket Muliam court. Mwabika more a little bit of detail. But I would sure about what one terminology means. There are several other lawyers that you can consult. Mune na chumfo judge arera ndefi. What does it mean? And then you give us a much more fuller picture. But reality is going to be upon us, and we are going to know the main reasons. It's on that basis that we can then give our own opinion whether they stand a chance or not. Isn't it, Jerome?
Yeah, I think a council first to say about the matter of journalists. I think we need first to say, yeah, I think for me, I would say we need to appreciate what they are currently doing, and it's now up to all of us to help out in terms of when we are giving information, for the information that they can be able to understand and communicate to the members of the public. Some things or some terminologies are too deep that even if you explain many times, someone may not understand. So it requires you not to interpret it, then you say, this is what we mean. So in this situation, just like you have said, I've come across most of my friends who are journalists, and for me, I make sure that I make the information as much plain as possible. And that's the way we do to help out. But yes, we all don't know what really happens in the nullification of the seats for Honourable Malanji and the Honourable Bowman Lusambo. We are all waiting and just hearing from what the journalist told us. But don't forget, you're telling us to say everyone is a journalist now in Zambia. And none of us here is even a journalist, but we are broadcasted. And
Kuifumiyako femweka, but Patrick Chirufya is a journalist. Muifumiyako femweka.
No,
I'm a journalist.
I'm going to go fast wangu na Google.
I never Barbara Dexter financial journalism. Yeah, but Bamunsha. For case you have Honourable Lusambo, some of the media houses, they've reported that one of the reasons why they nullified Honourable Lusambo's seat is violence. and there was so much violence that the opposition candidate couldn't even campaign properly. So one of the reasons reported by one of the media houses in Zambia was violence. So we don't know other reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and
Patrick, I think just to chip in before, because my phone is overheated. Just to chip in terms of violence, I witnessed when President Church came to Copper Belt, we had a time to move around some different constituencies in a Copper Belt, especially in Dola. And when we passed through, when we are passing through Kabushi, we also passed through like Bwana Mkubwa. But when it came to Kabushi constituency, it was a battle, like serious battle, where we were fighting with the cadres. And it was a time, if you have heard that there was a vehicle which was mashed by the UPN and all that, those people came to attack and started attacking the vehicle where President HH was, and we couldn't allow those people to do whatever which was happening. And the public and other people, they are the one who started beating those people up. Again, when we reached by the roundabout near the police station in Kabushi, it was another big problem where the police were instructed that we should not pass through Kabushi and also the main market there. Right. Those are some of the issues, and it was like serious battle. No opposition was allowed to pass, but we managed to pass through because we were so many and they couldn't contain us. Now imagine when we left Bakanengobeka there as to campaign, it was difficult. We wouldn't campaign. So violence for me, I witnessed it with my own eyes that this is what's happening in Kabushi. So
in law, Mr. Kanika, things that you see with your own eyes are the golden standard of evidence, right? So if I hope you were a witness, because then they would say that if you're not imwene neneka, na limwene aba vale pamava, or this is the violence that I saw, like ukumona, your own personally. So that's one of the reasons. The other reasons, I think, it's bribery. Because Kwadi can do which that donate the profits from their business. Can't give everybody to that these are businessmen. Tuale mieva atitakwaba business ibomba so yakoba tumuntu asafuma one time atinakwata 2 million worth of bunga ero ya mukufolesha
arepela
takwaba business that runs like that. Bantu pakuba business, I think we won't say money to run a business. Wakanika niba businessman, but Dr. Pam, I'm more of a businessman. I'm more of a businessman, a business person. Once to start not my businesses, pano. Bambi niku Zambia, bambi ku diaspora. Na company andi kuno, na in a business. When you are working in a business, kolavati wakwata profit, gross profit. Balida gross profit paria ofiro walipira kwa taxes walipira pusha nshan ero nomba pasa shala ili ingita pashara tish ifingi pashara fyo tulingire fyo twakobate wakachisa ko invest kushanshan akano nomba. These kelenkas were telling us ukwebate they run businesses, and out of their businesses it gives them ama profits here 2 million kwacha a month. When a person tells you that they are crooks. Simple common sense.
Vamusha, for me, I wouldn't get surprised because in the previous administration, especially to my own strength, health, there was a serious standard of supplying not umero papematos kali medical kwa bana supply oxygen. How? Not what up if you watch the feeding now to supply you weight things, and so how can you feel to have a profit of 2 million? You have supplied nothing, you didn't spend anything, you're just collecting cash.
I like that. The only way in which you can make 2 million profit, I think where Jerome Kanika is correct. Well, you can make 2 million profit every month and every week. It's when you have actually supplied nothing. Umwera weka weka. Number umwera is a big because tuwalufya chibemba bachanda munja fuirisheko inishala ande muchibemba iyo.
Naine chibemba pakutinga nakula okumichira ngala explain medicine if muchita explain lo muchibemba.
Umwera inshuyo umwera inshuyo supply okoba ati wachita supply umwera ku Ministry of Health 2 million yaingira. So these were crooks, you know, these were crooks. Not even KCM as a company would be doing those things. So when Avena Bonanza, you know, Avena Lusambo, Shimpundu, all these were distributing all that property, common sense tells you that it's not straight profits. They're not business profits. So nomboko bale fnyoko tuware ipshatare ne bane rondoro re mwafumia kui. Bantu mwaishire, like I said yesterday, with tu kwacha. Now upeta tu kwacha ku back pocket. And then after you are appointed as a member of parliament, you begin buying helicopters, you begin buying fish and land and everything. You know what, but it's because you run a business. True. Business of supplying air. Umwela. Terrible. Anyway, so we are going to come with a little bit of detail. They still can appeal, so they are going to appeal to the Constitutional Court, we believe. And so the Constitutional Court is not time-barred. Others, it's 90 days. Within 90 days, the High Court must make a decision. The Constitutional Court has no time barrier. So you might be thinking that this is a straightforward matter, but it might take another 4 years or 5 years before the Constitutional Court finally rules on these things. So they are still members of parliament if they appeal.
If they appeal still more kula kunchito more parliament no kula sabela
yeah. So they'll still be members of parliament. So they've not left the positions. They're still members of parliament until the Constitutional Court. The Constitutional Court is the final court in terms of parliamentary petitions. So you start with the High Court, you end at the Constitutional Court. So we'll see. I don't know, but I think they're likely to appeal. On grade 12, this is the matter, and I've been very consistent on the grade 12. The way the Constitutional Court interpreted the grade 12 requirement was pretty bad, and it's very, very bad. The Constitutional Court's decision is still law, but I have disagreed with the Constitutional Court's decision on the grade 12. They made a huge problem. Now, I don't want to go into details of why it's a problem, but it's a very big problem. I've written it on my website, on my blog. Please check it. It was a very, very bad decision on the grade 12. Because what they said was, you must actually produce the actual certificate, GCE or grade 12. You can't produce something higher. And that was wrong. Okay?
But how can you go higher without the... Isn't there an equivalent? For example, if somebody hasn't done the grade 12 and they go and do a course, there's no equivalent like an HND the way they do in UK. If somebody hasn't done, they do an HND. Wouldn't that count?
Now, that is where the issue is. It's because you are looking at it from what would be an equivalent. What we should look at is what the actual Constitution says, right? It's not what we think or what is right. It is what the Constitution says. The reason why we have a written Constitution is because we want to have requirements written in a Constitution. So it is what does the Constitution say? That is where the issue is. And so the Constitution, when a word in the Constitution is not clear, how do you interpret it? So it had everything to do with the legal theory, right? My argument is, when a word in the Constitution is unclear, you interpret that word in a way that includes more people rather than excludes more people. Our Constitutional Court disagreed. Instead, they interpreted that ambiguous term in a way that excludes more people instead of in a way that includes more people. If our Constitution wants to have a particular document, a grade 12 certificate, as the qualification, it should have said so, but it didn't. It said minimum grade 12 certificate or its equivalent. That is what the Constitution said. So where we have a disagreement, we need to interpret that in a way that gives more rights to people rather than takes rights away. So anyway, they've already resolved that issue, and Malanji, if he did not produce a grade 12 certificate, is in trouble. We'll see how the Constitutional Court interprets it at a later stage.
Bamusha.
When lawyers, there's a joke about an ENT specialist, a doctor. He takes his own child becomes an ENT specialist, and vaisa aleto mukote ataleta treat ukutu. Aisa sangamo ka foreign body mukutu. Aisa baba wish I told dad. Ababa koteba alikwata foreign body mukutu for 30 years. Wish by somewhere, but that is what paid for your medical school and paid for your house. Echimona Constitution ya Zambia. It's been feeding lawyers from time immemorial.
Yeah.
Now I some Constitution. My God.
No, but you see, the issue is really the kind of approach that you are going to take towards the Constitution. And I think our Constitutional Court made a huge mistake, because you see, the mistake there was not just about the way they interpreted it. The major problem was the impact of their theory. Because the impact of their theory is that it's going to impact any other sections in the Constitution. Because if the Constitutional Court interprets grade 12 in a restrictive manner, it means then that that is the theory that you're going to apply in any other ambiguous terms. That is the major problem. You cannot have constitutional rights that are interpreted in a restrictive manner. No. If drafters of a constitution of a country want to restrict, they better use very clear language. Not abe nabale panga constitution babo mfya language ya madongo dongo. Elo imwa constitutional court mwaya bika komo spanners. No. If you want to restrict, be clear. If you want to say 35 years old, just say it. It's 35 years old. Everybody knows ngoli 34 years old take. That's what the Constitution says. No, but if the Constitution says that around 5 years old, it means then that shitty 35, ali 34. Kutachta run. But so if you want to be clear, if you want to restrict, be clear and ambiguous. If there is any ambiguity, it must be cured to the benefit of more people rather than fewer. What the Constitutional Court did, it targeted fewer people, and that was very bad. Now, this is not to say that we are not going to prioritize education. No. This is only, the problem is that what does the Constitution say? No. What I'm saying is that what does the Constitution say? Anyway, this is the boring aspect of our program sometimes. Anyway, that is on Honourable Malanji, that is on Honourable Bowman Lusambo. They still remain, and I have issues with that whole grade 12 thing, and I've made it clear. On violence and corruption, we've also made it very clear. It's pretty bad. There are some concerns that there has not been good support for other people that petitioned. So in Lusaka, we understand that Honourable Tasila Lungu has won her petition. In Matero, Honourable Mao Sampa has won her petition, and several others. So the only two have been disqualified, but otherwise everyone else has won. Yeah. Which is pretty concerning to some. Jerome, are you concerned that Honourable Tasila Lungu has won her petition?
Yeah, actually, very much concerned because we had a lot of problems in terms of campaigns for Honourable Tom. I've forgotten even the name now. Yeah, I think we had a lot of concerns.
Tom Mijello.
No, Mijel was for Matelo, but for Chawama. For
Chawama, Port
Fatembo, yeah. Because Port Fatembo, he was the people's favorite and had a lot of touch with the people. But one, the campaigns were these issues of an innocent, there were issues of dishing of money, blocking him from campaigns and all that. But anyway, the courts have decided in the way they feel like it was the best, but still, I feel it is very unfair on Honorable Port Fatembo being there and being the people's person. I feel it's still paining me. Yeah, I wish we can take Honorable Port Fatembo now to stand as Kabata MP for that to move from Chama to take him maybe to Kabata and people see what type of a leader he is. He's been a very good leader. Anyway,
right,
let me not say anything.
We are not going to talk about Kabwata Pantu kwena mwandi numuntu nokushika tatula ashika. Mbale tushike. Mwamona wakanika wesu. Mbale nga tuashika. Nomba tukesalanda. Anchikira tureshika fye mkwae tuwabulo omubiri waba Mkandawire. Chira tureshika fye panshi paria tuwashika. Tukabushe eriashi. Jabu piani. Bali nonchita mbale kubesa ambo lyamfwa tumfwe fye ba Mkandawire batushire. Necharengere. Nendo shitwika tembale tuika tendo shisha lya Mkandawire mwero.
Landeni kwa plate info taipita feyo tufere
Awe
ngolire ni nani
paliulire mwevo paliulire avena chipata evali ya Mkandawire avena chipata na enfwe tukesa kumulia mweve na chipata pakutulira ba Mkandawire anyway
naba teshna bamba nokwimbeni imbosheso sho bemba kulwapula mwinali ikelefe munganda yatandalira babulo bakwe chiri apa moto kao mwaisa mulya nebe nafiwa bakantu ukuteka kekufunge talo chine mwipa yo mwana wesu pali buleti fyeyo ingashita we mwine mwisa wipa yo mwana wabene
mwaisa kulia mwamulia MP mwamulia
kati chalo chenu
tamwamutemenwepo iyo
olwabe payaba nabo atabasansa muka kwisasanga fyati fintu fyonse fyalalo bongoloka abana limbi bamba okufuma empanga yonse wempi bakutamfya pantu limbi fwa file kupepeka.
Yeah, alabwapya sana. Anyway, we did not intend to go into that diatribe about the passing of Hon Mkandawire. It's you bakanika batuleterera pantu twaingira mukulosha ifyo tulosha kweso. Anyway, that is what has happened with the nullifications. There are some concerns that the other people have their seats should also have been nullified. I need to check whether the Constitution allows for people to appeal these decisions, maybe in Chawama, in Matero, and all those areas, whether there can be an appeal, whether Honourable Popo can appeal against Mr. Sila Lungu. Icho ndesanga Mrs. Tasila, Honourable Tasila Lungu Mwansa. What I'm finding is she used to dazzle a lot when she goes to court, very, very well slim-fitting things, and people started even thinking that she can be the next president of Zambia. Abantu balite mama picture ngabakumana fe picture at you need to be president alabwafia
alishwa okubahambonga bawishi pape nengayisalira fina okwisanda ati we'll deal with the poor people mukamuvota
rani
omuntu ngalira fyachita koti ama verses yatatu yabiri
Mbale fe, it's okay. Mbale akalondo lo lefi achitike ku Chimtengo forest. Ala in the reshi to take infinity umgoipa to in the reshi aikala bwino.
President.
Namwana pa balumendo abale commenta po. Ni bana mayo bebere you are the president shan yo. Na bamba kokulanda kali ati. O bale fire take. Imbia take PA fine. Yo why. The concerns that we have over values in Zambia, they don't go because somebody looks good or smart. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with integrity. The idea that ngole teka tekuye mukupokolo lempanga ya chalo wa pokolo rati chaba chove. No. Chimtengo forest. No. So those are the indications that there is something wrong there. As a lawyer, I shouldn't be talking about those things. Chimtengo and I can talk about it. Bandu Chimtengo, we have clear evidence of kwa defense yo tasira Chimtengo forest ungu aide vika kumpanga ku Eastern Province. Ajanda chapa chako. That one we have evidence. Number evidence imbia kwa on other things. I don't have evidence here, so I can't talk about it. So we are very serious about what we've been advocating for here. The that Pantumuntu Nombambo Monica when Opama pictures that they can then be president. Maybe of PF. Bakasonso.
Mkwai. Mapolen Vonse. Bakwetu.
Yeah, fine.
No, before you go any further, Bakasonso, Aleni Londolo ene abantu vyachitike idede.
Bulabo Shiko the previous night. Ikialele.
Okay.
Ele nomba naima na ayati ntusheko. So ine njishivi ati nishimia. Kai first we spent 3 hours na vena linda. Never crank. After 3 hours ele nomba tuwaisa nomba tuchitena imbi 2.5 hours. Awe ni oturo tuwaisa. Kanshi wa mkeleva ina bafitenda na person. So na italala ko pabusanshi. Na funya ko naka picture. Mumano na leto ntonkanya fyati. Na karake ina ka kulala kaliani. Karaka kulanda ni nshimia. Ero ndelota. Baisa nsunka pakati kabushiku. Ukwewa ati kuya wale konkonsha panse. Verentinshi ati yo nomba ni wofu yo wa ya president. Ero na isa kutoka kutulo. No kwisa omfwa. Mukeleva yali ilishanya. So te akanshi tachimena isa ati nikabufeka kumona kwekera muna kutulo. Nomba chechiro tuta chabwerele. Nchako bati ndishive na lele shani. So mwantu wakwale tuna isobe netula shipula. Notulo tula kwata. So mkwa evangelele kona lele fye. Utulo nalinaka. But chiroto nalo terere mwalenja mbapa bunkola nokula mfati mbwele ndelanda. Tachabwe kele so nalikuwa tokusakamana chinishishi kunshishi. I don't know what my place is in the world since chiroto tachapuile.
Ama instruments tamwapo kele bwangu.
Kabiri kwa mukeleva ibari sanchi mukila pala Malanji tabala pata yoka sonso bwela waya kwisa kashi ini ndelo tanokolota kanshi ala shikashimisha akakantu akatunshi so bane munjelele kona shipwire finali na kale previous night naria mkusefia kona banandi ku Alexandre so nshalele no so yo naishi kama tozi David yawa mabaya lishapo
Mukeleva bami vepesha kuno Bakasonso. So nachira kwa muyumfuire mwenga. Okay.
No, na umfwa. You are forgiven, my brother. Next time ngana munaka kulandira chalimo so that twice but our brother atuwafunyepo bwangu so that you don't kulete minkono no kuchalo chonse. The whole world actually
Awana research on the Palestinian that is the right to Dalala here, we know. Kononokanda kwa lero nachitana testified moli nakachiloto.
Chances ya kukwata va nampundu ya chepako songa vamikana mikalanda tiyo
Iyo
PhD barekana ninkonono
wali wote pashamundu kwa wati ngo kononokero ka umfo bwino palo bachalo pasi woko posauka wali wote kashamundu ati masoni
Jerome, please mute your mics.
We are on air. I think there is a very cool background in it.
Yeah, super. Anyway, there's been nullification of seats right now, and so that is the topic. One of the saddest things about the whole thing is Vashimpundu Kundola Lusambo nachivipa sana, because it's violence, corruption, bribery and stuff like that.
What we can say about the Honourable Bowman Lusambo is that mumone indeke pakwe bati pupuke ila kwata mechanical force each to overcome the law of gravity that whatever goes up must come down. So ukuba palibo member of parliament ufwile wabela mafunde, you have to follow the rules, you have to play by the principles of the game. So if the judge has adjudged that he didn't play by those rules, it is in order that he must lose that seat. Chilosha started very well for the people of Kabushi. Ale bomfyaka pia kakwe, kuya mkutsa organize ma communities, building up things. Yeah, but as he rose through the ranks and interacted with more corrupt elements, he became rogue and he had a sense of entitlement. So if there was violence in Kabushi, and if it is true, like as we know it, that ama votes vale amgusha Lusaka tuwabunga, then he lost it, because that's not the way he won that seat. He won that seat by saving the people. Then he wanted to maintain it through a different methodology. And secondly, muno munyu don government to libantuwa quality, not for quality. Ilia parliamentary level alefo kuleta mu takweta ma qualities ya survive in this new dawn. So it is just maybe the providence of even the circumstance of God that he must vacate that seat for someone who can contribute. Remember, this is a guy who said that 25.7 million yabata constituency, ba constituency bako bonsta bako capacity. Tuwalikeni pano, kwa kusha kwa capacity ya kususpend rupia nga bako tulile chin dovili chipecha andala mpamutu. Takwa kusha kwa capacity, wonsi tu walikuwa capacity. Abape nefya na mfiba ba elosha lumbule shinapanga kwa yawafu kuba ukubesuila na pesi. Kwa bati bachitepo chimo. Our modern team of Musanga Fabantu Pangenshina Pashavenshira, Efiendalama Shichitamane answers all, and everybody in whatever constituents, whether educated or not educated, once they have money, they do something about their life. So, Ngachako Tukuliko nullification yako, ero Nangwaka Chita Pio Kakava successful. First of all, one, on the morals, Bachelor Shabali Ipona. On the morals and the principles of the position of Bali Ipona. And then the quality parliament the quality. Na pakolo shakukunta future constituency. Tabako tena mapangi nili na 25.7. So it's probably time for him to follow his boss. Bale yafe mkulano wa kachasu ya basungu na majemason kuliba olungu, as Bomkeleba said, olungu. So in fact mapo nabaya.
Number Professor Kasonso, you are behind. Lungu is going nowhere. In fact, Brian Mundubira has just confirmed today that Lungu still remains president of the Patriotic Front. So he's the leader of the opposition party. And so they're not going anywhere. Lungu is not going anywhere. Actually, alefo yakapoto, alefo kubuerera po. Alefo pampando, alefo kubuerera po.
Awe, ifyo tafya kachitike. Lile boti lya lipita kale. Ni nani muzambi wawekera pa kapoto? Kaunda ali esishoko ipoku muno kwe bati awekerepo. Bachiruba bali salomba third term. Na ilungu ya lombere in third term. If you're tafichitika, that's going against the grain. So Filafine Balan that is not available for 2026. Bale mumone election ya fumine kwa bamusha. Balungu tabai minine kona pachulu ku campaign okwe bandu fere for kuchita second term. Awe. He just appeared with pomp and an overpriced aeroplane and telling the people that ingapita kakaka HH. That wasn't campaign. Even if you basata balande pere ba mwana wasa balungu tabai minine ko pachulu kula ya bandu fe bakachita. Echo baponene. Bena bale femu kuchita olubuli kuchita organizer bena kalimanshi kuchita organize bala makadazi na ba unipi bambe ba vigilante ba mu 21st century kwa mukuma abantu. That's all. So tapale ko bale.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Brother Kanika, there's been a change today that you are very excited to announce at Ministry of Health. Have a go at it. Ministry of Health.
Yeah, I think vamusha lero kwati mashitabu of course na kabatri nishikarefa kapie muka California lero mwampira pepala peni shinde pachala basha kwena. Today at least Marama is gone at Indeke House and we have now credible people have come in. You saw all the tantrums that I was pushing on the Minister of Health to have some change, but the President has said, and now we have new permanent secretaries in the name of Professor Kasonka and also Dr. Mangwende. These are credible people, people who mean well for Zambia, and people are going to see a transformational change in the Ministry of Health. As you can see, we are coming from the issues of ANB, we are coming from the issues of misappropriation of COVID funds, we are coming out from the issues of the health workers not being employed and all that. But now we have a sober team. But one thing that I may ask the sober team to be there, currently the people we have in the pharmacy department at the Ministry of Health, I think we only have 2 people who came in as new people. Yeah, I think they need to maintain those people. For me, that's what I feel, because those guys have proved themselves to be very much professional. The reason I've said this is, you see, we have also discovered that Zambia has been receiving expired ARVs, and the people who are in the forefront of making these ARVs or receiving these ARVs are Professor Roy Dumlenga. You see, he's a medical doctor, but I don't know why he has interest in drugs. You see, being put as a focal person, it brings expired vamusha. If you not people are carry, you see, now people are carry because vamilisha mwempiro mwaleta.
So the substance of your submission today, Wokanika, is that you are extremely happy that we have new PSS at Ministry of Health.
Definitely after a serious battle with the former permanent secretaries, but now we have new permanent secretaries. Well, the new permanent secretaries, they should cut the cartel that have been bringing wrong things, because we know them. It's a matter of saying, guys, let's meet and bring all the names, and we know all the people, and you'll see how Zambia will start benefiting. How can someone bring expired ARVs? These are some of the issues that have been happening at the Ministry of Health. But with the new fresh blood, we hope we are going to make sure that we have a new mandate and a new way of doing things, which will be corrupt-free and all that. And the other request from before my battery goes off is for the permanent secretary, especially technical service or permanent secretary admin, to dismantle ZAMSA, change the people are there, because they don't mean well for the country. and also look in the issues of Zamra, because this is an institution that's supposed to protect the Zambian people, but it doesn't do that. So they need to look into that, and also check the people who are on these boards, because some people, they are professionals by paper, but they are not professional by mind and heart. Because also professionals they are professionals by paper to say never pharmacists, but they do opposite of being a pharmacist. So they need to check all that kind of thing so that at least we can protect the Zambian people. What if Myro Dev Mabanji Paya or Banjita Bash? Who's going to speak for the Zambian people? So we need to clean up the system so that it should not be Jerome always talking. Jerome always talking, no. For Zamsa, even just one tender, they mess up. You should know that they come in, if you continue trusting these guys, we are going to get things more than honeybee. So that's where the new permanent secretary admin should make sure that the changes at Zamra it's as soon as possible.
All right.
The changes at Zamsa it's as soon as possible, so that Zamsa is medical stores, so that the country can continuously have quality drugs and continuous having the drugs. You see, sometimes I wonder why you take quality drugs there in Canada, but when you come to Zambia, we subject you to fake drugs. That's very much unfair. Those things are something that talks about professionalism, meaning that professionals have been failing to do their work accordingly. And all these things can be rectified by the new permanent secretaries, by making sure that correct staffs are being put there, and those people are professional, not just pick anyone to say you be because you have a degree or you have a master's or what. Then that will be a big problem anyway. But it's a good news. We have new permanent secretaries. The old path of book, we have covered it. Now the new permanent secretaries, let them clean up in terms of directors, but they should leave the pharmacy department as for now. The people there are very, very professional at that instrument, but Zamla they can touch, Zamsa they can touch, there's no problem. Those guys,
but they shouldn't touch your friends.
You see, at Zamla they are my friends. At Zamsa they are my friends. Zamla they are my friends. But if your friend in Garesh Tefia wrong, Kumusamba Mubamusha. Napalao Adisambire moto say, Nemuni yes, Shmene Mona na Samba. So that's what it's supposed to do.
I think instead of avoid kuchinja abantu, they can just put a system in place, an electronic system, where you can paper trail umuntu ngalufyana, you can paper trail anything actually wrong. Ukuchilati, we're living in the 21st century. We can't still have a system where, because our government yala chinja, nayo ikachinja. Opo ikesa chinja na pona futhi bakeseyamba from square one, na foot from square. That's why they have to have a system where now abalimudi ama civil servants muma building, they become professional, they become educated, but they fit via electronically. It's very simple. But the order electronically, opo missing, you can see muma email, although watching to me na email ili wrong. Not that guesswork, nobody guesswork. We don't know what panga mistake. We don't know. Some people think, my enemies, you just hate us because there's no paper trail.
Yeah, but Umuti, it's one of the most basic things that we consume on trust. Imagine, muntu ngakuletera Panado. We don't take Panado ile wa twalira bakanika mfailisheni ko whether I Panado ya chini. We take it on trust. Now imagine the kind of mayhem that a country goes through when instead of Panado, if you wakupera bunga, kwena nangu imitwe shira pola nichofie imitwe shira pola na kubunga shapola.
You know, in medicine, there's what they call a placebo. A placebo is, you know, giving somebody kwati bamama bayitati ngabalwala basanda chinika namuntu ngenyereti hospital bali amkubatubika dextrose, you know, just sugar balepola, you know, just by psychologically. But we don't want that. We want people to, you know, to trust the process, to trust everything, because I think it's very dangerous. It's really dangerous.
Yeah. The thing is, it's Soba Magwende, Mangwende, and Lakson Kasonko, Ministry of Health. So I didn't understand about Ministry of Health on this program. We hope that you're going to correct the situation and just be fair to the people of Zambia. That's all we are asking. You know, you know, enjoy those amanone. But as you are enjoying amanone, just do the right thing for the people of Zambia. Making sure that the people of Zambia have quality health care, nemiti, and it's pretty terrible. Anyway, we shouldn't go there today. We have other names that we need to focus on today. So Jerome, thank you very much for health. I don't think this is a full list of PSs, right? There's still more PSs to come. There is no PS for justice here. I can't see a PS for justice. So maybe there are several other PSs that are going to be coming, isn't it?
Yeah, Bamusha, can I say something? Just for a minute before. I think Kudiyama PSs Nayambia Leisa, because I ain't that. But I just wanted to say something about the two permanent secretaries of health. You know, we've been talking about health, and health has been a disaster, as Jerome has been alluded to it. Health Nazesco, they are disaster. But those two permanent secretaries, to me, they are very good appointments because I know both of them. But one of them is more than a brother to me. We grew up together. We started grade 1 in same day, same class. We sat on the same desk. Dr. George Mangwende. He's a very intelligent guy. He lost his job as a commissioner at prisons in Kabwe because he was a professional in the way he dealt with HH when HH was at Mukobeko. So here is a young man retired. What were they calling it?
National interest.
National interest. Just because he treated HH. You know, Barbara, as a doctor, you have to be professional. You don't care whether ni mwenyen, musungu, nishani, ni disabled, your job, you've got a duty of care towards everybody. And that's how he did. That's what he did. He was a doctor responsible for HH Kumukoweko. And he treated HH just like any other prisoner or other patient. But then what happened? He was fired. But Dr. Mangwende, you are my friend. That position you've taken is a very instrumental position. We don't want more people to die. It's strategic position. Do what is right. If you don't know, consult. But we want that ministry to be, to be reorganized, restructured, and get advice. We don't want more people to die. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So we have the list here. Public Service Management Division, there is a Mrs. Margaret Miyoba-Wanga. Any comment on that? No comment, we go. Office of the Vice President, Ndiwa Mtelo. No comment. Mwelwa. Let's try that.
Yes, Dr. Misha.
What is the gist you have of the list that was released today? I just want to get your where you are leaning at. Is it good? Is it middle, or it's bad?
I think it's a mixture. We've seen a lot more youth, so maybe that has justified some of the youth deficiencies we're already pointing out. It has equally addressed a bit of the gender inequalities we're already pointing out, so we have a little bit more women. I'm happy to see people like Mrs. Muneko, Naomi Tetemashimba. Those are some that have sprung up. I'm equally a little bit disappointed, I would say, because I think as the day has progressed, we've heard, well, these are allegations of some of the people already. I think some gentlemen on there are being, well, not blamed, but there are some victims coming up who are claiming they were sexually abused by some of the names on there. So I would think the vetting system isn't very good. That's where because I think some of these things shouldn't come up if they've been vetted accordingly. I don't know if they're vetted. So I think that's where my challenge is. I don't know whether they're vetted or these names are just put forward as in Kaidi, Tualelwisha, UPND. So
the issue on allegations, Mwelwa, is that in the day and age of social media, how do you vet? So we want the president or the government to vet this guy, right? But how do we vet the person who is actually putting up the allegations? Now, I know that there was that movement against and I think it got a lot of talk about people. I shouldn't go there. Now, and it's true. The issue is, how do we differentiate between, how do we vet the persons that are alleging? In a just a few days ago, just a page publishes things, and you look at it and you are like, this is definitely not true. We've seen over the changes at State House. A person just went and typed, Jito Kayumba has been fired.
Yeah,
completely untrue. So it's a very difficult balance, right? To know whether.
Yeah, to comment on issue. First of all, when it comes to vetting, the issues to look into are criminal records. Those are number one on the vetting. Criminal records. Financial issues. Has this person got the financial connections that can hold them hostage? So when you look into the criminal record, there's nothing there. The financial issues, there's nothing that can hold them hostage. When you are putting people in those positions, the primary consideration is that you are not looking into the class of angels. You're looking into the class of human beings. So if somebody did something wrong, should have been taken to court, what did the court say? That should be taken into account. Otherwise, there are many factors that come in your life for different purposes. From the woodwork. That is not fair for us to even demand that it should have been vetted for those things. And here we have a situation, we have had a situation here in the United States where Supreme Court justice to the Supreme Court was nominated by the President Donald Trump. So my investigations Congress Senate last vote for that Supreme Court. Peter. And right now, Justice Kavanaugh is sitting on the Supreme Court. He's not the only one. Even the black justice, the black man on the justice there, had also the similar situation of those sexual allegations. In the 21st century, there are multiple sexual allegations that are being made against people. The objective standard to look at is, what did the law say? Not just the noise in the media or on social media. I think that gives the fairness to the guy who's being accused and also to the person who is the accuser. So because we can't just take the accuser as the gold standard and the accused as the villain automatically without the mediation of the legal system.
Okay, I think that would be a discussion for another day. But Moirwa, yes?
I was saying, I totally get his point. The challenge is, unfortunately, especially with Zambia, is that don't forget there's the customary element. So some of these issues, that's why I'm saying some vetting, I think we lack a proper vetting system, because not only do we have the legal system, like you said, was the person, do they have a criminal record? Some issues are dealt with customary, which you are not going to find a record of. So for example, I know for a fact, one person that was mentioned, it's true. But then I can't even say it because it was dealt at customary level. So I know what was said was true because I'm a relative of the woman that, you know, I'll say victimized at the time, but it was dealt at customary level. So I can't say anything. I'm also equally tied as a family member, so I just keep quiet. But I'm now thinking, you see, if these people are put in positions where they will be getting, especially maybe if they are still going to be in positions where they're going to be maybe younger people, my mind is going, this is a big problem. I think that's where I was coming from to say, I don't know what, if there is a system or a possible system we can have that vets these people properly, because I think, like you said, we only have two routes, and you're very right. You can only look at the financial and at the police records.
But I think the vetting system is much more, involves a little bit more than just criminal and financial. Any vetting system must involve a little bit more. But the issue is how much more, you know, those are some of the questions that we are going to get. I think the Zambia security and intelligence systems, they have extra information that they avail the president. But because ngole take a chalo, did you take a chalo on the standard of criminal standard? Did you take it? And you also need information that is beyond the established channels. Utubufi no Luambo, because Luambo, Tubufi, Umulomo, they are part of how you govern a country. And so the president does have access to that. But it helps with the decisions that you're going to make finally, right? So there is a formal vetting system. Then there is also the informal vetting system that is based on Umulomo that the president has. Like to check your bank account. It's very complicated. Nobody can know your bank account. But using several channels, the intelligence can obtain that information. But it's unreliable information. You can't rely on it. So it's a little bit complicated. But I do see what you mean, Mwelwa, that you would have expected a little bit more vetting on some of these allegations. But what I wouldn't want to do is to weaponize social media with allegations, because sometimes we need a little bit vetting of the very people that are making allegations. If they are credible, it's a credible story, I wouldn't mind. But things that people are just typing online, some of it is quite dangerous.
Let me just say something. You know, like what Mwelwa has said. I'm a bit privy of some of the information, but I would suggest, because this information came out on social media, there's a lot of, we would all think maybe this is just something coming up on social media because everybody types something. The UPND, there's a lot of women in the government. Maybe it can be done so that they give that information. If you're saying she's a family member, and the information that they've given, that's something. Personally, I wouldn't accept that my child would work near somebody who's done things like that. So maybe as a family member and you're sure this has happened, maybe you should take it further and speak to somebody, because that person may need counseling. We have to protect our children. We are coming from a culture where men have got a lot of power and poor people can't defend themselves. So if there's any truth, even if it's 20%, maybe you should take it up with even with the vice president who is female, and talk to them privately and say this is something that happened as a family. Maybe they can look at it. It needs to be addressed if they are a family member and it happened. I end there.
Bamusha, can I say something?
Right.
I think if you're under my sister Bamuelo and Barbara, Philipanga sense, because Bamusha, there's no way this man would have been vetted on the issues by my sister Bamuelo later. But then People only did that because now you want to buy some public figure, some public place. And mulam public place, so galashita abuse abaiche. You continue to abuse abaiche. No, but the point is, now that information na ifika, this information needs to go to the right place. Or if possible, they can go to court and say, we don't want this person because I think they need to look into this information now that this information has come into public. I rest my peace.
Yeah, this is we're going to deal with it at another time. Okay, so I was trying to get the picture of where you are at. So a lot more women in this list. I think that is quite satisfactory, I hope. A lot of political experience as well. Some of them are UPND operatives, which is pretty good, and also a mix of career civil servant, which is pretty good. Yeah. Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Isabel Lemba. Home Affairs, Mr. Joseph Sagafumba, President of the NDC. Former, because if he's being sworn in as permanent secretary, it means he's no longer president of the NDC.
That's
Mr.
a question I wanted to ask you, Musha. To a Shapati now, or to a Isala, or Naleka Nombabu president?
No. He's a former president of the NDC, or at least one of the. I do get a lot of problems because Johnson Malanji NDC. So Mwebanji NDC. The next question, which NDC are you part of? So
I was just about to ask. I told Niba NDC or NDC.
Anyway, it's like other political parties. The only party church support disintegrate is UPND. Otherwise, the rest of the parties, PF right now, Kwali PF Mao Sampa, PF Christine Kaseba, PF Lungu, for a very long time. That has been resolved. Number, it will also disintegrate. There is PF Kambwidi, PF Edgar Lungu, PF Zayelo, and Katuishama PF. There will be several PFs. So it's tough. Amen DC chapwa. Or you tell me at never NDC. So let it be. Minister of Justice, there is one. Good appointment. Otherwise it's a very good list. Youth, Sport and Art, Mr. Kangwa Chideshe. Pastor Kangwa Chideshe.
Our own pastor.
What I liked about that appointment, Monsha, is Pastor Kangwa has been a UPND foot soldier for a long time. And it's very good to use his zest and interest in sport, and also his acting career in the arts, in the media, and all those kind of things. So, and I think that he has leadership skills for that position, although he's not a sportsman. Yeah, in general, I think I like the way you are going name by name, because some of the names we can't recall top of my head. So what I did this morning when the president was, when that list came out, I went into Google Scholar for each one of the names, and also into LinkedIn to just look at the backgrounds of each one of those people. Some I didn't find anything. But for those I found something, the majority of them, I found that they had either extensive experience in that domain, or they also had academic qualifications. And a few for me stood out. For Kangwa, I like the youth. Although he's not a youth, he's our age, he's a man in his 40s, but his appearance. and just his zest and new energy, being an old operative and leadership skills.
Also at what? At his youth because of his appearance.
No. It is not. Although he might appear that way, he is not necessarily a youth because youth is 35 and below.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I noticed about that. But one of the appointments that I was very happy of is the Ann Songolo lady at the fisheries, who is a veterinary doctor. For many years, she has worked in that field, and she understands the issues of that ministry. So it was appropriate, I think, in my view, for her to be the controlling officer of that. I also, one of my favorites, also, it's not just that I'm hitting on the women, but I was happy that more women were included. But one of the most impressive appointments the president has made is the economic advisor. The economic advisor is a person who doesn't just have a postgraduate degree in economics, but has participated in research institutions that understand very well the issues and the dynamics and the structure of the Zambian economy. So I felt that that is a very powerful person to be able to consume both research and what is obtaining in practice to give the president the elements of economic policy that can help. Also, she acts as a good backup to the Ministry of Finance and the Minister of Finance and the things that they're doing. So that appointment stood out for me. Another one that I enjoyed very much is the position. She wanted to stand in Solwezi, and she was left out. They put other people, but she didn't abandon the party. She continued to be supportive, and now that's like a loyal foot soldier. Something I would have hoped that my friend Lily Mutambo could have done too when she was not selected in that position, but she didn't do that. But Teta Mashimba,
we're not going to talk about.
No. I'm not talking about Lily. I'm just giving an example. I'm contrasting the two people. Teta Mashimba remained loyal to the president and the party and the cause for which she has sweated for so many years. And now she's going to participate in managing government in her province. So, and then, of course, the gentleman at the Ministry of Health, both are medical doctors. That was also good, especially the aspect of these people who were yanked out of their jobs because they supported the UPND. I think that putting the foot soldiers out there, like the Dr. George Mangwende and others, was a very good approach to bring on the foot soldiers to support the cause of the government. So, I can go on and talk about a little bit more, but I know we are many here, so let's share the time.
Thank
so
you.
that's the approach I took.
Thank you. So some may not have looked at this name. Okay, so there are some names that just came with the last name. I think State House, please do us a favor next time. Don't give us last names. We understand that in Mwachiba busy. So good type if you is some. So Mwachira type of number. Give us the first name. It's important. We have Mr. Kasongo, Mr. Kamenga, and then the one that caused a lot of commotion today, Mr. Chitambala. Right? If you say Mr. Chirufya, wafya sana, because ba Chirufya ba isura ngempanga yonse. Every northerner, every Bembal Wapula, or whatever it is, we have a Chirufya. Every one of them. It's either you have a Chirufya, a brother, an uncle. It's either you are Chirufya, your brother is Chirufya, your sister is Chirufya, your uncle is Chirufya, nanguba shukulu ni wa Chirufya, or there is a Chirufya somewhere. So that Mr. Chirufya, muketemi pashishonse shala alesha bu Chirufya. Beginning from our warrior from Luba.
Mulenga Chirufya. Our queen.
So if it ever Chavef, na Mr. Kasongo who? So anyway, we want, but this partly could undermine the president's message that I was vetting, because if you vetted a list or you vetted people, you did not vet their last names. Because who goes to vet Mr. Kasongo? Where? Na bakapokola kutwala ndati Kasongo what? Bakapokola in fact when they are trying to vet you, kuira ndati male Kasongo, NRC number, na kumushi kumwenu babika na description. Ati Kasongo omwipi. Male omwipi uafita nemishishishitari. Number list from State House to have last names. Bane poseni kwa mano, please. In institution, yes, so that require. Anyway, one is Miss Beauty Undipiri. So she was the candidate for Kasenengwa, and we had her on TVBAKWETU. General is following this program today, and I think General should be very happy that Beauty Undipiri is Deputy Permanent Secretary for Eastern Province. Pretty good candidate. So there are several people who were candidates, and now they are serving the government. Someone is asking why Mr. Joseph Agafumba must resign as president of NDC when Mutati has not resigned. So there are two roles in our government. There is political roles, pure political roles, and then there are civil service roles. When you assume the civil service role as a permanent secretary, you can't do partisan politics. You can still be a member. So he's obviously a member of the NDC, but he ceases to be president of the NDC because he can't play active partisan politics. Mutati, on the other hand, is a politician because all of our ministers are politicians. So Mutati can still remain president of his political party because of that restriction. All right, so Ms. Naomi Teta Mashimba, congratulations, all the best there in Solwezi. And it appears like this list takes strengths, right? If a person comes from Northwestern Province, maybe a little, the Kaunda manners would have helped.
Yeah, I would have
Naomi Teta Mashimba. Okumfumia kusolwezi, Naomi Teta Mashimba. Okumtuara ku Luapula, I think she can do very well. Luapula has Mr. Mighty Mumba and Mr. Roy Mwansa, Luapulans, UPND operatives as well. And so they are permanent secretary and deputy permanent secretary. You know?
I'm not very sure about Abene Luapula because Kumi Eskuru Luapula, we are not happy with anything most of the time. So I'm not very sure. But I like these two. Personally, I'm happy with them. But some other people are not happy. Personally, I am happy with them.
Which people? Which people are not happy?
Abantu beswaba Luapula badi bafya bashupa.
Kanonivo.
But I'm happy with these ones. I'm actually happy with them. They are very good.
Yeah, Mighty Mumba and Roy
unite Luapula together because it's a bit disunited. They can put them together. I think maybe that's what the president was looking at, some unity within the region.
Within the Yeah, but yeah, and I think for efficiency, right? That would be very good efficiency. But sometimes it might lead to balkanization, you know, where there is this sector, the Luapula sector, Minister Luapula, Minister Waku Luapula, even if he's in Changa, but Mwina Luapula, permanent secretary Mwina Luapula. I don't know what you see. Ubuloshi. Iri ngingo lefo kulowo muntu. Ayin. Tabalo waveni, balo wabakaya. So kanshu muntu nga mukaya ko umufumye ko mushikumuawo ero mwamutwala ko kumbi bantu kulyangaya bakaya mukumutina. Ayin. There's no one who knows. Nobody we mwina mirenge finofine ine badishiba pamushipa mwesu nyapa na my brothers na pompo lyongo alifwa. So kanshu kutibaya mberesha sana ko mirenge. So ichirefo kwa chako bati ne basamfumya ko bantwala kumbi uko tabayishiba pompo lyongo. But if pompo lyongo were alive, I'll be okay because na beshiboko bati parate pa kwesho kwikata bantu pompo lyongo. Mukari. Anyway, but we've seen that Mwebena Mirenge, please, Munjerereko. But anyway, we've seen that is the kind of thing that is happening at the moment. We don't know how long it will last. Maybe there will be transfers and everything. So Teta Mashimba should do just fine in Solwezi. But maybe welcome to Lusaka. Wouldn't it be nice Naomi Teta Mashimba to be in Lusaka. Yeah. Any other names that stand out?
The other one that stood out, Musha, for me is the Havenzu, the Dr. Brilliant Havenzu. Havenzu is a new PhD in electronics and stuff to do with technology. And what I like about more recent PhDs is just a sense of awareness of where research stands in a particular domain and how they can help organize the enterprise or the team, the research teams, to be able to spearhead the critical technologies that are required to advance the country and the nation. So I thought that was a brilliant appointment as well.
All right. Okay, thank you.
And Wamusha, the other name is Home Affairs and Security, Dixon Matembo. He's a career civil servant, and he was operating underground as one of our foot soldiers, and he was part of the UPND Global Diaspora Fundraising Initiative.
You are not going to be ousting people that were operating underground, Machuvi.
Okay, he was a foot soldier, civil servant.
Foot soldier, yes.
Career civil servant.
Okay, that's understandable. It's amazing because even here we yeah. This organization was bigger than we ever imagined.
We should also thank the people, some of the people that have lost their jobs. Some of them were not as bad as we thought. The majority were bad, but at least they worked for Zambia, so we should also thank them for their job as they go to their next areas of interest.
Mr. Christopher Mundia is a special assistant for legal. Good job. Mr. Levy Ngoma, special assistant for political, a very good and savvy political guy, Levy Ngoma.
I don't know him. Can you put more information on him?
Levy Ngoma, former MP for Sinda. One of the grassroots and well-loved guy from Sinda. Very, very down to earth, and I think that's a very good appointment. There was some allegations that that Mr. Jito Kayumba has been fired. That's fake news. So the economics team at State House is expanding, and that's why we see Dr. Nakamba there. But it does not mean that Mr. Jito Kayumba has been.
Yeah, but also the two jobs are different.
Yeah.
The other guy is like the supervisor of the projects. So on behalf of the president, is keeping an eye of the aggregate of the projects. The other person is a policy person for the whole economy.
Yeah.
So there is no. I think they just saw the word economic in there, and they say economic advisor, so they thought it was a swap. No. That's not the case.
Right. Okay. Otherwise, this is a very good list. We look forward to the next list on Monday and other lists that are going to be coming. Otherwise, if to our winner my elections, ever chitashani,
ever leteka,
ever kuteke ichalo.
Tufuire twasalula bamusha.
Tubaisa afika ku bwangu na kuli ba group D bamba ko kubemya kaino batu pali ba group B. Ba group
A. No, Barbara bonse ba group A na batusala. So no babaraisa kuli ba group C na D. A na B na basala.
Mwalishi bafwe ba UPND to abakwati ni ba Zambian football supporter ngafyawa matula temwa. Ngafyavi
patula pena.
I in the spirit, it was absolutely shocking.
But bamusha tule salula lelo.
Awe. Lelo na musamu aba UPND.
Chawa baba musha abanesu bakwate chito. Chalala ko bwino lelo. Abantu bakwate chito at least abengi. Alali ko bwino tushi maybe I just want to
sorry Bachiruki. Me Bamusha, I just want to thank judicial officials, judges, magistrates, of course, Supreme Court judges, for the job that they are doing. It's not just a battle for the politicians to clean up the country. It's everyone, including the prosecutors, the police themselves, all the prosecuting departments. So we really thank them for what they are doing. It's not easy, but you know that this country has been dented so much by the previous regime or the politicians. Some of the politicians in the previous regime were terrible bad seeds. And it is up to you, the judges, the people that deliver justice, to actually bring justice to the people. So what they are doing right now, when we hear cases like that, it's not that we are proud, we are happy when seats are being nullified, but it is the way it's supposed to be. We are coming to you, the judiciary, for
only 2
review.
seats have been nullified out of 50 that were, so that's a very low number.
That is okay for us. It's a plus, you know. We just have to appreciate where credit is due. Of course, we still have lacking behind. Maybe it's evidence. We don't know what is causing the other people to lose, to win. You know, so yeah. So the other message was the Kuriva Buliva Wishi Banani Lusambo. It's unfortunate, my brother, you lost your seat, but the dangerous thing, my brother, you had, or the serious mistake you made was your mouth and your character. It is you and even Chimbakambwili. Your worst enemies, my brothers, are your mouth. Of your Molanda Mukanonemi Chitire Yenu. They're terrible. And Zambians are really against that.
Thank you.
Vamunja, inga olesa lula kulanda, tekulya fenama. Tusalula lero, tulekeni, peleni tuwombeko. Tuwombe.
Because when I was in Lusaka, I tried in when Mbosham ruling party Shisuma. I think when you are in opposition, you can't do a very good song. But when you become ruling party, those women, so I did like a little song with General. Me and General, we've stopped to sing to Nimbo. Because they say, no, you are a doctor, you hold a PhD, you are a lawyer, you have 8 degrees. Why should you be singing these useless songs? So,
ofyo bamba bamusha limbi mwaliamba no mwalale ko mwalambo kuteba tinalile ko kukopa mafoto na abantu.
But of course, each time that I say last and then I do it again, it's like Bapes. It's like Bapes says, no, I'm done with this thing, and then he does it again. So if I meet General again, we could do another song. So but Gole Sarula, you need everybody to know.
Nintulale salula ba PF kweta baletu bikapatule salula ba munsha. One ninte mwa ku appointment ku youth na iwama awe bakanga mwaba mona fe first tampile nika appearance public appearance yaka guy number 1 mwaisa ya kubongo awe ni perfect dana abatulasa ku youth na tumfa bwino mwefwe ma youth workers awe babomba paja. Our own leaders of our generation. We are so proud of that appointment. Ngano twaisa kulibadia. Ine ba muncholo bachitena rifaya 50 or 100. Ta infitete nte mkwate ofuna temu afya imo. Ya bashimpundu. Ili ayena nde salula nde imba fino kuimba kalwimbo. Ushaba eche chimwali bomba bali bomba. Ile balance kulifwe kaya neka sit kaya come on. At what goes up must come down.
Maybe the Constitutional Court is going to look at it differently. So it's not too early. It's too early to celebrate.
We're not done.
So we can to analyze.
Amfafia wino kumisa do kwachi meaning a thing. Kanchi na aba amanu wala
lesipsa lokita.
What missing door? In Papa, what was it about missing a door?
Umuntu ukulaba ati ni driver amuna kwati ni passenger after judgment ukulubana.
Bachisa muli bu passenger na balaba teko bengirira fyali belela.
Balira bati teba minister nomba tabako ata driver.
Imwana driver. Uli onse kutakwa ata driver. It was an honest mistake. Vale tonton kanye fingi. Muberere.
If you mtualita ambapo before. Kula bamwala, then after a few months kwaba kwechibele she then waisa butuluka.
Can I come in for a second, please?
Nigeria, things fall apart.
Nyachi Sengo.
Yes, yes. Allow me to sing just one song,
I used to be. Do you know me? I used to be. Shibali pa kavala.
Just one chorus.
Oh, Nyachi Sengo.
Yes, please. Akatanshi takalisha wa PF mwale salula na
volume.
salula. Akatanshi takalisha wa shimpundu mwale salula na ifwelelo tule tumpa.
Amen.
Alalelo. Alabachi balisha hambo pai balabatata. Ukwisa afuma nokulanda na reporters aina sana tumweleza wako Abraham ngabalero abani banani because I couldn't recognize the guy. I just thought, my goodness gracious me, what did the judge give him? I don't want to talk about the rest of it, but to be honest with you, I'm over the moon. Whoever passed the judgment, whatever it is, I don't even give a hoot. I'm over the moon. That's one of them. The second one, I'm so glad to see Robert Kamalata being reinstated, and brought back in, given some role. That gentleman worked with the Mzungu president, as I call him, and immediately after, Balungu came in, he was retired in national interest immediately. That was so sad. But to see him, working with HH and being brought back into power like that, my gosh, I'm over the moon. He's another Lunda guy. My relative, I'm not even embarrassed to say it. So glad. Muzata Ngamwan, Robert Yai, I call him my brother. Of course, Naomi Tete Mashimba. She's one of the prominent girls that have worked so hard in Northwestern Province. To see her being appointed as well is marvelous. Northwestern. Wajipi aneba bakasons. Kunkwa shanka kone mwaikara tuzi. Kyokika. Bakwetu nkwashai.
Jiwi jinoja Isau. Jiwi jinoja Jacobo, but jinoja Isau. So I don't know. Is this my beauty?
Man, I mean apwisha. Thank you.
Thank you. Eyo, akakalwimbo kawamisha. Twala kachita download. Bapesi wala kachita download. No kudisha. Eko twakuladisha.
Iwe wa munja. Kebi twala kukoti.
Yeah, bapesi.
Ine but na ine nintemwa pali ba DNA wesu. That one, but there's one all of you are missing. If that one comes through, I think na wa brother wandi wa Patrick abashino wakakoro Kampiongo. How do you like that name? If no, I'm not saying that it's been done. I'm saying if it's the petition, if you are Bowman, yachitika kuli Kampiongo. Everyone who doesn't drink will get drunk on that day. For me, those are the.
Mapesi, don't get me so excited that I start promising people money live on TV. Then I won't be able to retract that promise. Please don't start me.
And then kulifuti umbi uyu nakonya sana ale munakwati twaliba partisan sana. Okay, sometimes yes, our program can be partisan because we do advocate things we think are right for the country. So there's a person who's like gone hard on every one of you there, especially Mr. Dr. Musha. So I've actually responded to her some few comments. Actually, the main comment was, okay, what made me laugh? He said, tell Musha should tell his government that Katushi to hospital yabo Katushi Abashani, it's it's not equipped. So I answered him. I said, Ngaba for 10 years. Why the much they complaining? We are push PF. We saw 12 if you are sukamuli 10 years if you watched it. Pantu within 90 days the power government yachita ni kuchina. Uko kuchina kai kuchina ngakati hima kuima lamba no kukula hapo peneta uli kutalika. Ku Zambia turatalika ko olo ba PF bale tusunsunsha ko bale tusunka twaletalika ko kaka 11 olo batu puma twaleta nomba kuchina takwa kutalika. So mu 90 days tapale fe bangachita. So na mweba na uke se complain after 2 years kuti taisa kwa fako na ine mu complain if you na mwasu. Eno na pena na papena.
Thank you. Wise man. Now I saw earlier that you had made your name was the TVBAKWETU journalist in Kabwe. Number watching to Wise man Chiro. I wonder why.
Nde chita edit apa ndefo kupanga na photo ya bakwetu wino so that mbefe nomba ni official journalist necha mkoshinde fora kuno wino nati bakwetu journalist yena ni official kuli no kubwera panshawe na temofe yomacheva abakalamba bandimwa chibebati out of 50 only 2 itaire pa yena itu kuli ifwe ilikuwa ni 49 out of 50 bamusha antu nifilia mwasanga medaya pinzi tawasala mwingi waposa wasala mwe nono hivi bija ero waposa ero wateka pamulono ango wafokotora rice pali spoon mulifedi bwelimu au tu wife isa yonse so ero faka parliament tusale mo shirye toshiria tusale mo na mwene fe omuntu mu parliament ale fuliro ba speaker bashimpundu 5 ba speaker bole konyesha ekanya wakubaba so manje awo twamona tawe apano mbako situation iwe ko kuli 95 expectancy so that alondolele kuno na ila wachira bakadoida baberere fe babefe use the number kadoka abo nomba pakakala sangula right.
Thank you very much for joining us. This has been a presentation of TVBAKWETU. And be careful so that you don't forget your dose tonight, Katuishi. Mweba remember blankets. Don't forget your blankets. God bless you and God bless our country. Please remember to subscribe to our channel. Subscribe both on YouTube and on Facebook. We like to hear from you. Good night and God bless you.